Hello and welcome to Sports Fan Entertainment as the Tennessee Titans fire head coach Mike Vrabel. The news came down earlier today, and wow. On a scale of 1 to 10, I feel like I'm about a 6 in terms of my shock level here. I'm not shocked. I'm surprised. I did not think Mike Vrabel was going to be fired. I really anticipated him coming back next year. I was already just over it. I know some rumors were percolating yesterday, but I just couldn't see it. But then today the news dropped, and then you started hearing more and more about what's been going on behind closed doors, and the uglier and uglier it is. And I'm always optimistic, especially when the offseason starts. Mostly. I'm mostly optimistic whenever the offseason starts. So, I think for some people this is like, scorched earth. Everything's a disaster. This is a train wreck. I don't buy that. Not even for a second. I think there are some problems here. I don't know what exactly is going on in the front office, because for me, the real weird thing about this fire. Well, first of all, guys, remember, I was actually surprised when we fired John Robinson last year. And then what did we hear? We hear that they were having problems collaborating, that Vrabel, didn't agree with the decision, obviously, to trade A.J. Brown, and that there was, some issues going on there. And then we started hearing the same thing the last couple weeks about his relationship with Rand Carthon. And I just don't understand that, though. Rand Carthon was specifically hired to be a better collaborator with Mike Vrabel than John Robinson was. So I just don't quite understand where this relationship began to falter. I haven't heard enough about that because it just doesn't make sense. Like, when you look at this offseason, again, we didn't have any cap space. We did the best we could. We knew it was going to be an effort. Some people got their hopes up. I got my hopes up, and I said, okay, maybe we can make the playoffs. Some people absolutely thought we were going to make the playoffs. I wasn't buying that. But, but we all felt like, okay, we're probably not going to make the playoffs this year, but we're going to figure it out and figure out this relationship. So the year went, it was a little disappointing, and it opened the window. I just can't believe that they couldn't work well together. Like, that, for me, just doesn't make any sense. Now it's Rand Carthon's show. Now he won the Game of Thrones. He did. He came in, he was hired, and then eventually he's going to be able to get his own guy. So it's just like, you would have thought after last season that Amy Armstrong specifically, chose Vrabel, and she specifically aligned her, allegiances to Mike Vrabel. So I am slightly surprised that, this relationship, did falter, but when you just view the fact that this team is headed in the wrong direction, you're talking about going from 12-5 2 years ago, so now to then going 7-10 last year and 6-11. So you're headed in the wrong direction. So that is 13 and 21 over the last 2 years. Not good. And now you look at his record. He's 9 games over 500. It's good, and he's 2 years removed from being coach of the year, but it's headed in the wrong direction right now. And we really should have paid more attention to the press conference he had a couple weeks ago where he cursed. And at the time, I was like, not a big deal. I think then was when he started to get really frustrated, and I think he could start to sense the writing on the wall a little bit. So I look back at that press conference thing, but that was actually a significant moment that we actually should have really focused on. So he's out of here. And to be honest with you people, not everyone, but a lot of people are saying that he's going to go on, he's going to do well. I don't really buy it. I think he's closer to Ron Rivera than Mike Tomlin. I think he's going to go somewhere. I think he's going to be about 500. And I think after 3-4 years, he'll be gone. That's my prediction. I just don't think he's going to go and have a Belichick, second, a wave in his coaching career. I just don't buy that. I think he's closer to Ron Rivera than Mike Tomlin or John Harbaugh or Jim Harbaugh. I don't think he's going to come into a program and completely change. He did well here. And I don't want to, for a while. And I don't want to, discount that, but it's just not working. It's not working anymore. So, and yes, again, we have a rookie quarterback, but it was his decision to go into this year. Well, it was probably also Red Carthon's decision to go into this year with Ryan Tannehill, to trust Ryan Tannehill again, and it screwed our season. Right from the start, it was screwed. Because, you just shouldn't have, outside of, I don't know how you have faith in Tannehill, like, especially at this advanced age. This was the plan. He wanted to compete. He planned to compete, and we didn't compete. Tannehill was a disaster. So the plan didn't work. It didn't really make much sense. Maybe you would have got away with it if you would have said, okay, let's not bring back Tannehill. Maybe let's trade Henry, although, hey, Henry had a great finale, and it's been nice having one more year today, Henry. But maybe if you go, scorched earth in terms of rebuilding this roster, you don't go through this result. Because you went into the season, you wanted to compete, you wanted to make the playoffs, and you failed. Again. So that's 7 straight losses to end last season, and then 6-11 this year. So that's what happened. So what is that? That's 0-7 plus that's 6-18 in your last 24 games. You open yourself up to being fired. I looked at it today. We're like 7-18 in like our last, however many games. That's right there with the Panthers. That's right there with the Bears. One of the worst records in the league. You open yourself up to potentially getting fired when you go through something like that. Bill Belichick, the greatest head coach of all time by most people's standards and metrics, he's going to get fired, most likely. Because you just can't go through a season like the Patriots have had. Now, they were worse than us by 2 games. But even Belichick, he made the playoffs the first year. Or actually, was it the second year? Brady was gone. And then since then, they haven't been playing well. And he's going to get fired, most likely. So if Bill Belichick with 6 rings can't get away with it, Mike Vrabel, who has no rings and no Super Bowl appearance, he's not going to get away with it. So, and by the way, those playoff wins were in 2019. Okay, that was a while ago now. It has been a number of years. So if you accumulate these losing seasons, you open yourself up to being fired. So he's gone, and and we'll see how he does. I think let's say he goes to the Chargers. If I'm in, that's where I want to go. That's where he should go. Just let Justin Herbert do the offense. If he goes to New England, he's screwed. I know he'll probably have a longer leash there. They'll give him a number of years to really right the ship, but their roster is so awful. I don't want to go to New England if I'm him. But we'll see what ends up happening there. And I don't think he's going to be as good as Bill Belichick. Well, obviously that's a high standard. I don't think he's going to be nearly as good as Bill Belichick was in New England. So we'll see. We'll see what happens. But he is gone. He is indeed gone. I do want, though, and we've had stability. So there's been 6 seasons with him. So I don't want to act like everything's a total disaster in terms of the stability of this franchise. I think that people are overreacting. However, I would prefer for our next coach to be a coach for a decade again. I know it's been a while since we've had that, so I prefer that. And you're already starting to hear some of the names. So I will say this. I really want to do a deep dive on some of these guys and really listen to them. Look, right now, Ben Johnson doing a great job in Detroit. Also, Bobby Slowick, the offensive coordinator for the Texans. Also, Mike McDonald, the defensive coordinator for the Ravens. I expect all these names to be considered. I have to listen to them. All right, because I've seen Slowick a little bit and Ben Johnson a little more. McDonald, no. I actually have barely listened to any sort of thing from Mike McDonald. So I really want to listen to their philosophies. Oh God, if we are another Mike. But hey, if he can get the job done, who cares? But all 3 of those guys I just mentioned, let me see how old Ben Johnson is. But I know Slowick is 36. And I know, I think also McDonald should be 36 as well. And then Ben Johnson's 37. So you're looking at probably a young guy coming in here. And that would be fun and exciting. The one thing, though, 2 guys do not bring in here. Belichick, don't do it, okay? He's done. I still think he could have, maybe if he goes to the Chargers, have an interesting year or 2, but he's older. And again, I want a head coach for a decade. Belichick would come in here for 4 or 5 years, retire, no one would care. Maybe he get us a Super Bowl, I doubt it. So I just don't want the whole Belichick. I think it's a waste of time, except for a team like the Chargers, because he's only going to coach for 4 or 5 more years, maybe. I don't know. Maybe he's not going to do well. He's going to get fired after 2. So I don't want Belichick. I mean, I don't want to do Belichick. And then I don't want Eric Bieniemy. Because I don't know why people keep thinking Eric Bieniemy is good. Did you guys watch the Commanders this year? They were awful. Okay? He kept throwing Sam Howell back there, getting sacked. He can't establish the run. He can't even get the ball to Terry McLaurin or Jahan Dotson. He can't do it. Okay? Go watch the Commanders. Their offense was terrible this year. And it was largely due to him and his pass-happy offense. It was not good in Washington. That's why the damn ceiling fell through. I mean, they weren't that bad for the last number of years, and then this year they were awful. I mean, just ask Commander fans. Just ask them. Okay, if you haven't watched them, just ask Commander fans, do you have any faith in Eric Bieniemy? I guarantee you 90% of them are going to say no. They might want him back next year just for like continuity's sake, but with the new head coach, it's probably not going to happen, so a lot of Commander fans are over Eric Bieniemy, and I'm not interested. So I'm just warning you right now. When this Eric Bieniemy name comes in, I'm not interested. I'm not interested in Belichick. I like some of these younger guys. I just have to listen to them. So over the next coming days, I'm going to do that. I'm probably going to come back and go live again and give you my thoughts on these candidates. Also, as more names come in. Also, we do have to interview someone of color, and I haven't seen a name yet for that. So maybe Eric Bieniemy is just, gets Rooney ruled. But I did also want to touch on Amy Adams Strunk because some people are now wavering on her. Now, some people are just idiots. I can't believe how many people today were complaining, like, oh, this is why you don't have a woman as an owner. Jesus Christ, guys. This is 2024, man. Oh, my God. Some of you people are crazy. She's making big moves. Okay, because again, I did not think, while it was, the whole AJ Brown thing was a disaster, I did not think we were going to fire John Robinson when he did. Now, luckily we did, because it's better. I think Rand did mostly a good job this year, and I think we are seeing greener pastures. But, to fire John Robinson last year, to fire Mike Vrabel, she's making big moves. She's making big moves, and you have to respect that. I don't know. See, the one thing that I personally may not have fired. I don't mind firing him. But the only reason I may not have is just these names like Bobby Slowick, Ben Johnson. They're okay. They're interesting. Again, I have to do more research on them, but it's not like there was some obvious big time, although there's Harbaugh, big time name where, okay, we're going to fire Vrabel and then we're going to go after this guy, right? We're going to, do the firing of Mark Jackson and get our Steve Kerr. I didn't see that. Maybe one of these guys will be Steve Kerr. But there's not obvious. It's not clear, except for Harbaugh. But I don't think he's coming here. I think he's going straight to LA or maybe Washington. We'll see. But it's a big move. It's a big swing. And I respect the fact that she's trying to compete for Super Bowl. It's aggressive. Okay, and then I want stability now moving forward. So let's stick with Rand, and then if Rand gets his guy, let's stick with it. Okay, Levis. Okay, let's stick with it. Let's get a little bit more stable, and I think everything will be looking up and up. But this team, the trajectory for this team to be a true contender again, it just. Because even next year, I mean, now maybe I'll be a little more optimistic. I didn't see us going to the playoffs next year with Mike Vrabel. I just didn't see it. I was like, we'll win like 7 or 8 games again. Then he'll probably be fired. So I think we just are getting a head start here. And look, everyone's going to want him. I mean, everyone's talking about, he's going to go to LA. He's going to go to New England. Okay. I don't think he's going to do that well. It's rare that you do better in your second stint. And I just don't see it. I think he peaked. He did well here for that 4-year window. The last 2 seasons, it's dipped. And look, you look at a great coach like Mike Tomlin, who has won a Super Bowl, okay, and has been to another one. Despite the fact that he could be frustrating in that he hasn't been able to get to another one or win another one in like over a decade now, still, this year they went 10-7. That's despite Kenny Pickett being terrible. That's despite Mason Rudolph. Actually, Mason Rudolph ended up being kind of decent by the end of the year. That's despite various injuries. That's despite being in AFC North. That's despite all of that. Still went 10-7. That's a head coach. That's a great head coach. Pete Carroll, despite all the drama with Russell Wilson and all the drama and all this, that, made the playoffs last year, went 9-8 this year. So we can complain and say, well, the roster wasn't great, whatever. Hey, Pete Carroll and Mike Tomlin are still winning games every year. And they still can't get back to another Super Bowl. So why are we just assuming that Vrabel was going to get there one day? Well, what really indicated that? What indicated that? We choked in the playoffs in 2021. We choked. Now that was on Tannehill, but Vrabel trusted Tannehill. So it just these decisions have just mounted and mounted and mounted to where the writing kind of ended up being on the wall, and I think that's what happened here. Someone in the chat also mentioned Dan Quinn. I don't know if I want Dan Quinn. I'm actually fine with a defensive guy if he's the right guy. This Mike Macdonald guy interests me. I'm actually really interested in this guy, and I know if you get a defensive guy, I was going to complain, but this guy's doing something in Baltimore right now. I mean, they are cooking. All right, and even like last year, I know last year they didn't make the playoffs, but that was in large part just to Lamar Jackson getting injured. But their defense was still playing well last year. Now they're just, lights out. So I'm not opposed to a defensive guy if it's the right guy. So, but I know people are going to complain if you get a defensive guy. But just no, please not to Bill Belichick, dear God. Please not to Bill Belichick. We have a super chat, so I want to get to that and some other chats as well, but he's gone. And also, this is also something that needs to be considered. His attitude in some of these press conferences and all that. When you're winning, you can get away with it. But as you begin to start losing games and you begin to start losing some of the media and, some of the narratives around, you as a head coach, begin to form, it also kind of adds writing on the wall, right? You can get away with that behavior when you're winning. But people have been annoyed with Vrabel in the media even when we were winning. So they're going to turn their back on you when the struggles begin. And the struggles began. So we have a super chat from King of the King Productions. What's up, Joshua? He says, I'm finally excited this offseason. Kelly Bowen, O-line coach, strength and conditioning staff, mostly gone. It's a party at the Mick House. Give me Ben Johnson or Bobby Slowick as head coach, and let's go. And yeah, and again, these are two interesting names. They have good offenses. I do still want to do a little bit more research and get more background on those guys before I'm just like, oh, well, they're just going to solve everything. Everything's going to be fine and hunky-dory. Well, let's relax. Because you could end up with a Mike McDaniel, who's good. Or you could end up with a Brandon Staley who was really bad. So, although he was defensive, but you could end up with, there's plenty of bad head coaches in this league. But oh my God. And by the way, do not do some crazy. Yeah, you know what also is a good comparison? Although he's better than Frank Reich, but I fear, and hell, Frank Reich was supposed to do well with the offense. The offense was awful. I wouldn't be surprised. I don't think he'd be that bad. But I just don't like retreads. Unless if you have maybe some more time off or something. But look at the Frank Reich hire. The Panther fans were convinced, oh, we got Frank Reich. And this guy's going to come in and fix the offense. And he got screwed in Indianapolis. But he's going to come here and he's going to do well. But then all of a sudden, the offense can't move. He's ruining Bryce Young into a total disaster. Luckily, we have a better owner than their owner. But you never know with some of these retreads, man. You never really know. So the only one I'd be interested in is Jim Harbaugh, but I don't think he's coming here. So I wouldn't hold your breath on that one. So we will see. But hey, at least, and this is a good point. No more offensive line coach. No more, chasing things up in terms of strength and conditioning. And Vrabel was being a little stingy. He wasn't quite being as forward-thinking and being the young, innovative, analytical guy that we wanted him to be, particularly the last 2 years. So, and he wasn't being nearly as aggressive in terms of his decision-making, and he wasn't doing enough. He was just doing a lot of shuffling off the line, but he definitely wasn't doing anything to help it. I mean, the offensive line's just been, it's been incredibly bad. So, it just wasn't really working anymore. And, we had great years with him. And again, we have to see who we get. I'll just say this. This is my prediction. I could be wrong. I just think he's gonna go be Ron Rivera. I think he'll probably make the playoffs one or two more times. I don't know, but I just don't think he was gonna win us a Super Bowl. I just didn't buy that anymore. And it worked. But even then, even when it worked, even when we went on the playoff run, and look, it was fun, but we knew, okay, well, we're going to have to upset again. Oh, okay, we're going to have to upset again. Oh, okay, so now, except for 2021, and then we choked. Outside of that 1 year, in 2022, I guess, as well, I should say. But we've never really been like, oh, yeah, we're going to win the Super Bowl this year, like definitively. Maybe you believed it, just as a fan, and you were supportive and hopeful. But it's never been, oh yeah, we're now a definitive NFL powerhouse and we should expect to win the Super Bowl and we're going to win the Super Bowl in the next couple of years. There was a hope. Yeah, we're going to go into the playoffs, we're going to compete. You're going to feel well about our chances, but it's not like we built some powerhouse here and now it's gone. Henry's gone, Tannehill's gone, the era's over. It's over. It was there. There was a chance. We choked in 2021, and then we had to keep upsetting in 2019. Just to even. But we knew we were above our skis. So I just don't think we were going to win a Super Bowl with him. But that's just my opinion. We have another super chat here from Jackson Hill. It says Titan and have no clue what they're doing. Clown organization. That's the opinion that a lot of people have. I disagree. I think it's quick. I think it's a strong move. I think it's a definitive move, a bold move. But I don't think that this is like the death sentence that some people think. Now, if you hire the wrong guy, it's a death sentence because you hopefully you get someone that can develop a Levis. If you don't. Then Levis is going to be out of here. The coach is going to be out of here. Rand's going to be out of here, and we're going to start all over again. Hopefully that's not the case. I do think this is the worst year we're going to have. I just think whoever comes in here, you're probably going to win more games next year. I'd be surprised if you did, especially with all the cap space and everything. So I think things are looking up, and I think things are going to be interesting. Also, it's important to note. Because, I've been making videos on here for a while. When we hired Vrabel, when we fired Malarkey, although, Malarkey was always going to be like mid. But when we did so and hired Vrabel, I was like, I don't know. I didn't love him. And he's come in and been a great leader of men mostly. But the act has just gotten tiring. It's gotten old. I don't even think he's that motivated anymore here. I think it's kind of over. I just think the magic is gone. Sometimes you're in a relationship and things are going well, but sometimes it fades. And I think the love in this relationship is kind of faded. So, yeah, I think that's kind of what happened here as well. So, let's see any other comments that I want to address. Oh, I almost missed one. Sorry. St. Louis Titans says in Ran, I assume he means we trust Tighten Up. And by the way, he won the Game of Thrones here. He came in here and it's still kind of just bizarre because I don't know why. Like, I want to know specifically, and I don't know if we're ever going to get this information because God knows no one can report on this team anymore. Including myself. No, I'm kidding. I really want to know what disagreements did they have specifically. Like, was Vrabel just not happy signing like an Andre Dillard? Was he not happy drafting a Will Levis? We were told again and again and again and again, these people are going to collaborate. These people are going to work together. These people are going to be a better relationship than John Robinson and he were. Last of the year. Lasted less than a year. How? What happened? Like specific, I want to know what specific decisions were made that they disagreed with. I don't think we're ever going to get that information. So yeah, I mean, and Rand Carthon, now you gotta watch out, man, because I mean you're gonna have another year at least, probably two. But who Amy Adams Strunk has proven, oh, she gonna fire it. And again, some people are hating on her, but I mean, what do you prefer? I mean, it's she's not even being that active. It's just like, well, the last 2 years she's made two big decisions, but she's normally just chilling, and then just like taking pictures with fans. She's not crazy. It's not like we have David Tepper running around throwing beers on people. She's not crazy. She's just making big decisions, big boss decisions. I respect it. It's just you better work. But sometimes in order for you to move forward as an organization, you're going to make big swings. And this is a big swing. So we're going to see what happens. We're going to see what the future will hold here for sure. So that's going to do it for me here again. So the research will begin today. I'm going to look into Bobby Slowick and Ben Johnson and hear their philosophies and study their offenses and see, okay, which one of these guys could potentially move this franchise forward. They're all great names until you hire them and they come in and they stink. So it's a fun process, but the process now begins. Until next time, this has been MJ of Sports Fan Entertainment, and I'm out. See you all later.